They thought she was nobody, a quiet new recruit with soft eyes and a timid posture. But by the time the sun set on that military training ground, every cadet who mocked her, shoved her, and tried to break her spirit will be standing in front of the commander, watching their careers crumble because of the woman they had underestimated. What city are you watching from today? If this story resonated with you, hit subscribe for more real stories about extraordinary people. Her name was Liana Hawley, 24 years old. Thin, calm, and quieter than any soldier her age should be. When she stepped into the training compound on her first morning, her uniform looked too clean, too pressed, too new. The other cadets whispered instantly, "Where'd she come from? Who recruits someone like her?" She looked scared, and maybe they were right. Or maybe they only thought they were. Liana kept her eyes low and her steps controlled as she moved to the formation line. The base, Fort Arden, was known for one thing. It broke people. Only a rare few survived the drills, the pressure, the competition. And Liana walked right into the storm as if she belonged there. The drill instructor, Master Sergeant Rowan, glanced at her once. His expression barely moved, but something in the way he eyed her made it seem as though he recognized something the others didn't. The first test was simple. A hand-to-hand combat warm-up paired sparring, friendly. Light contact. In theory. But when 3 cadets surrounded Liana, the word friendly dissolved. Instantly, they pushed her chest. One flicked the brim of her cap. Another shoved her shoulder, hard enough to make her stumble. She didn't react. She didn't complain. She simply whispered, "Are we beginning?" They laughed loudly. The drill instructor didn't intervene. At Fort Arden, the weak revealed themselves quickly, but Liana wasn't weak, just patient. Cadet Hurst, the largest of the trio, stepped forward. He poked her forehead. "You don't belong here, sweetheart." Another added, "You'll be crying by noon." The third dug the heel of his boot into her foot to see if she'd flinch. Liana breathed slowly. She could have ended it right there. All 3 of them. In seconds. But she did in single quotes T. She just said, "Let's get this over with." They rushed her at once, and the fight that followed became the turning point of the day. Hurst swung first, wide and reckless. Liana stepped aside, barely shifting her weight, letting his momentum carry him past her. The second reached for her collar. She ducked under his arm, pivoted, and used nothing more than the pressure of her palm to drop him to one knee. The third didn't even get a chance to touch her. She moved behind him so cleanly that the cadets watching didn't understand what happened. One moment he was charging. The next he was on his back staring at the sky. It took 5 seconds. 5 seconds to dismantle. 3 men twice her size. The training ground fell silent. But humiliation turned to anger. For the next hours, every relay, every drill, every obstacle run, the cadets targeted her. When they ran uphill, someone's shoulder checked her. When they crawled through the dirt, someone kicked mud toward her face. When they carried gear, someone loosened her straps so her weight would fall unexpectedly. Through it all, Liana didn't shout, didn't blame, didn't even glare. She simply pushed forward with controlled breath and a gaze that hid storms behind glass. But inside, something was tightening. A memory, a promise, a truth she had buried long before stepping onto that base. During lunch, the harassment escalated. Cadet Hurst slammed her tray onto the ground. "Oops," he said, grinning. Another leaned close. "Someone like you should have quit before you started." A third whispered, "Or maybe you're here for attention." For the first time, Liana looked up at them. Not with anger. Not with fear. Just a chilling stillness. "You're making a mistake," she said. Laughed again. They didn't realize she was warning them. The final drill of the day was a simulated combat gauntlet. Cadets paired off, completing a series of hand-to-hand evaluations in front of the entire training staff. Hurst volunteered immediately. "I'll go against a new girl," he said. Others cheered. They wanted revenge for the embarrassment from the morning. Master Sergeant Rowan nodded slowly. If you choose the opponent, you accept the outcome. No complaints. Hurst smirked. Won't be a problem. Liana stepped into the ring, hands loose. Expression neutral. Rowan's voice cut through the silent field. Begin. Hurst lunged. Liana didn't move. Not until the last possible moment. Then she shifted her weight, redirected his arm, and used a technique no cadet should have recognized. A counter only taught in advanced combat programs stopped before anyone understood it. Hurst was on the ground with her knee at his ribs. He roared, furious, and charged again. She flipped. Him.clean, effortless, precise, A. Murmur rippled across the cadets. This wasn't beginner skill. This wasn't. Average. This was mastery. But the breaking point came when the other two cadets jumped into the ring without permission, trying to overwhelm. Her Rowan didn't stop them. He didn't need to. Liana's movements became a blur of discipline and technique, forged far above their level. She redirected strikes, neutralized holds, and dropped all three of them within seconds. There was no cruelty in her actions. Only control, only restraint. Only truth. Rowan finally stepped forward. Cadets, he said, voice deep and steady, allow me to introduce the soldier you've been mocking all day. He pointed at Liana. This is Sergeant First Class Liana Hall, 10 years Special Operations, former close quarters combat instructor, for units whose mains you do not have clearance to. Here, gasps spread like wildfire. Some jaws fell. Open. Some cadets paled. Hurst. Expression shattered completely. Rowan continued. She joined this program under a confidentiality directive to evaluate the readiness of this cohort. And every one of you who laid a hand on her has demonstrated the opposite of readiness. The field went dead quiet. Liana exhaled softly as the weight of the day lifted from her shoulders. Not because she enjoyed the reveal, but because she had hoped it wouldn't be necessary. She had wanted to observe quietly, to simply watch the future soldiers of the division rise or fall on their own merit. But instead, she had seen arrogance, insecurity, and cruelty. So she spoke. Strength isn't measured by who you can bully, she said. It's measured by who you can protect. And today, some of you failed that measure. Her voice wasn't raised, but it hit harder than any strike. The commander arrived shortly after and reviewed Rowan's report. By evening, disciplinary actions were issued. Several cadets faced removal from the program. Others were placed under strict probation. Their careers weren't simply shaken. They were changed forever. As for Liana, she walked off the field quietly. The same calm steps she had walked in with. But the cadets saw her differently now. Not as a quiet newcomer. Not as an easy target, but as a reminder that greatness often hides behind humility, and that disrespect can end a career faster than any battle. What did this story make you feel? Where are you watching from? Subscribe to Soul Relief Stories for more real stories that heal the heart.